Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the hundreds and hundreds of true school sports and subscribers. What's going on, guys? Now, next year is going to be a very interesting year in the sport of boxing. We're going to get a lot of interesting matchups, and one of the big matchups we want to see is Gennady Golovkin versus Canelo Alvarez. But before we even get to that point, if the fight should be made, there is an intriguing matchup that I think people might be overlooking. I know I've seen a few people in the boxing community talk about it. So I thought I'd talk about it a little bit. And now that he's kind of stated what he wants moving forward, it only makes sense to do this video. But Gabriel Rosado, coming off of a good unanimous decision victory over a good fighter in Joshua Clottey. I didn't get a chance to watch the fight, so I'm going to go back and watch it eventually. But he looked, pretty good from what I heard. So I'll have to go back and watch that and see how it looks, so I can kind of further assess how far he is from getting this fight. But he came out recently and he said that he wants to fight Canelo Alvarez, and for Rosado, it's just good to see him get back in the win column. He hasn't had a win, at least in a traditional boxing match, since 2012 when he TKO'd Charles Whitaker. So, he's had a string of losses to Gennady Golovkin, to Peter Quillen, to David Lemieux, and a few other people, I think. So, just for him to get back to the win column, that's huge for him. And I know he switched trainers. He doesn't have Greg Hackett, who was, whatever. Greg Hackett was his trainer. Now he's got, what seems to be a better trainer in Fernando Vargas. So this is his first camp of Vargas. He saw the result. You got a good result. So we'll see how it works, but I think getting away from Greg Hackett's going to help him out. So with that being said, here's what he said about Canelo Alvarez. He stated the following, I quote, "It has been more than a year since I've been in the ring, so I did feel a little bit of rust, but I feel like this fight really helped me shake it off." Clottey is a tough opponent. Former world champion, definitely a challenge for me in my first fight back. I delivered an entertaining fight tonight, and I was happy with my performance. I'm ready for my next big challenge, and I would like a shot at Canelo Alvarez. It is what it is. First of all, Canelo Alvarez, as we all know, he's the middleweight champion, but he's not fighting at middleweight. So with that being said, no matter who he fights, he's always gonna try to fight that junior middleweight kind of range. So you're talking 155, 154, that range. And Rosado's fought at 160, but Rosado is more comfortable at 154, 155 anyway. So I think a fight between him and Canelo, not immediately in 2015. I'd say you get Rosado another win. So Rosado, you get in there, put him in with an opponent that he can beat. If he can get past whoever it is, then that should garner a Canelo Alvarez fight. Get him some confidence, because, look, say what you want about Rosado, say what you want about his record, but there's one thing you can't say about Rosado, and if you watch his fights, he's not in boring fights. He goes out there, he fights with his heart. Maybe sometimes he fights with a little bit too much of his heart and not enough with his brain, but maybe under Fernando Vargas, some of those traits will be getting a change, because he still is 29. He can make some improvements in his boxing game. So we'll see what happens with Gabriel Rosado. But we know a few things about Canelo Alvarez. We know that he struggles with guys that move. We know he struggles with guys that can punch. He's never really lost to a puncher. One guy lost to Mayweather. So he struggles with guys who can move and box, and he struggles with Lara, who can move and box. Rosado can move a little bit, can box a little bit. And I think he's going to go more towards that style with a guy like Vargas in his corner. But Rosado, I think that'd be a great matchup, because Rosado, he's going to come to fight, he's going to come to win. And let's say Canelo gets past Rosado, that'd be a good test for him. Can he get past a true solid 154-pound guy guy at a weight he's comfortable at? Can he get past a decent fighter, a guy with a good skill set, who's coming off a big win against an ex-world champion in Clottey? So, I always said Rosado is the modern-day version of Rocky. He fights a lot like Rocky. He's always in wars. He's always, cut a lot. He's like the modern-day version of Rocky. Now, obviously, he can't do that against Canelo, but I don't see why that fight shouldn't be made. And I mean, I know these promoters, they love to make the Mexico versus Puerto Rico fights happen because nationalism is what sells in boxing. But it is what it is, man. I think a Rosado Canelo fight would be a cool little fight. Honestly, I don't think Rosado's gonna approach that fight like an opponent. He's gonna approach that fight like somebody who's coming to win, somebody who really wants that W and needs a W. So I think when we get that, and probably another camp under Fernando Vargas, maybe he will become maybe he'll be better than people think. I think Canelo. If you guys watch this channel and you know anything about me, I'm not the highest on Canelo Alvarez. I think he's made some improvements with his moving and his defense, but I'm not gonna sit here and say he's this unbeatable A+ level fighter that separated himself from anybody. No, I think a guy like Rosado can go in there and give him some problems. So let me know what you guys think. Gabriel Rosado wants Canelo Alvarez. Would you like to see that fight happen before Golovkin? And if so, how do you think Rosado would fare in a matchup against Canelo Alvarez? Leave your comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. And until next time, take care, guys.